Hello and welcome back to Brew Tapcast. I'm Tap here for another Flesh and Blood Pints and Previews episode for Tales of Aria. We are in our sixth and almost final day of spoilers now, and we have one left over from day 5, so we will get into that. But I just want to say that this set is shaping up to be spectacular, and I want to note that I feel like the first 3 sets, and then I guess Crucible for some, I guess because it wasn't really all that impactful as far as limited, or it wasn't limited or anything like that. I really think that those were our training wheel sets. And I think Monarch and now we have Tales of Aria, and the training wheels are definitely off. And we are just going to town. The complexity, the interaction, the different zones, the different things you can do, they've upped it, and it is huge. And I'm really excited about it. I like that we can think through. We have a lot more complex turns and board states that we can actually have fun and really dig in and do a lot of little knob turning to really make this experience different for each game we play. So just wanted to put that out there before we get into them. But before we get to day 6, let's make sure we go to day 5. So we missed out on the Outcast Haven spoiler last night because it just wasn't up when we were doing our review. And so we want to do that one. So this is Exposed to the Elements. So this is an elemental instant. It's a blue pitch 2 cost earth and or ice fusion. So you can do and earth or ice, and then also the and both of them at the same time, revealing. So it says, if Exposed to the Elements was fused with an Earth card, put a -1 counter on target equipment. Very cool. We saw that with different things that Guardian did in the past. You could disable, or not disable, mangle, things like that would also destroy things with counters on them. So we have ways to put things, put -1 counters on here. But the unique thing is if you fused with an Ice card, it says destroy an equipment with 0 control, 0 defense, controlled by a target hero unless they pay 2. So theoretically, you could at instant speed throw a counter on something and destroy it to destroy something that someone blocked with. So, like, let's say they're blocking with, I don't know, a Teklo Heart Foundry, and it's got no -1 counters on it. You could throw a -1 counter on it and then have it block. I guess you'd have to do that after the fact. So maybe it's got one -1 counter on it. You put a second one on there, so it's defending for 0, and then they still have to pay to have it not get blown up. So same thing with a Skull Cap if you wanted to do a Skull Cap. Things like that are quite crazy in this. This is a very weird and scary place to be, where you can have instant speed things just sort of taking away your armor, and then also destroying armor as well. So being able to snap things off like that are quite scary. And then also just being able to destroy armor that has 0 defense. Doesn't have to have blocked. It could just be something that has 0. And we see a lot of those in this set too. So also love the tectonic plating art in the background. That is very, very cool. But yeah, so this is a very exciting card. I think it's a new kind of way to interact with armor that we haven't seen before. It's not too expensive. 2 isn't too bad to sort of blow someone out with a defense or something like that. I mean, it can be pretty exciting. I think it's definitely worth looking into and worth thinking about during combat and things like that. So, yeah, savage. All right, on to day 6 cards. Our first one is Crown of Seeds. We have a legendary helm here. This is from Organized Play EU, and again, all these people make delicious videos. You should go watch them. Not all of them. Some of them make delicious videos. You definitely go watch them. If they're just a Facebook post, that's not as exciting, but show them some love anyways. Go look at everything, all the original work, all that kind of stuff. That said, this is Crown of Seeds. So we have this Earth equipment head, so it's only for Earth stuff. So we have Oldhim, and we have Briar that can wear this in this set. Actually, anywhere, because of its Earth talent. So Crown of Seeds is a 0 defense. It says, once per turn, instant, pay 1. Put a face-down card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck. Draw a card and prevent the next 1 damage that a source that you would be dealt from your hero this turn. So we saw another card that put things from our arsenal onto the bottom of our deck. In this particular case, we are getting somewhat of a benefit from it. We can prevent a 1 damage. That 1 damage can also be arcane. It does not say it has to be an attack damage or anything like that. It's any kind of damage that would be dealt, prevent 1 of them. So that's pretty cool. We can do sort of, it doesn't have Arcane Barrier, but it kind of does have Arcane Barrier a little bit. But we also can sort of cycle a card for it. So if we don't like our Arsenal card, or someone's coming with a CNC and we want to get it out of there because we don't want to lose it, you can just throw it to the bottom deck. You cycle a card, you get to draw 1, so you're replacing the card that you're pitching. So theoretically, yes, you are down a card in the sense of you're switching essentially for your Arsenal card for a card into your hand off the top of your deck, but you have to pay 1. So you're kind of down a card in that regard, but it's also, it can come up in really nice places, because sometimes you get stuck with something in your arsenal that you really don't want to have in your arsenal, and you can just slop it to the bottom, draw a card from it, so you're not really losing that much momentum except for one particular piece of resource. Also, if you have if you're something that, if like Oldhim really needs some blue pitch and you only have a red pitch, you just can like swap things around. You pay 1, maybe you pitch a blue to pay 1 for this, slap a red in the bottom from your arsenal if it's not something you want to do, or pay a card, pay the red to pay for it and then turn it into a blue possibly. Again, it really, you have to have something in your arsenal to do that. That's the only sort of the thing that matters. Otherwise, it doesn't really do anything. So it's something that you got to remember, is that if arsenaling is something that you can consistently do, which, you know, some heroes they can't. Some heroes are going to use their entire hand the whole time. So it really kind of depends on what happens there. But very, very interesting and cool card. Moving on to our next one, we have we have Duskblade. So this is not Dawnblade, this is Duskblade. So this is from Christine Sprinkle. She is a MTG/Fab cosplayer. She's going to be at the Calling in Vegas this weekend, so definitely go check her. I believe she is going as Dorinthia as well, so she'll have a Dawnblade, not a Duskblade, even though she got the Duskblade. That said, this is a 2-power generic Runeblade weapon, sword, 2-handed. This is not only for Briar. This can also be for Viserai. This can also be for Chain. And boy, does it really, as the kids say these days, slap. So it says once per turn action, pay a resource, attack, swings over 2. Whenever you attack with Duskblade, if you've played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, put a 1+1 counter on Duskblade. So just like we saw with Dawnblade, it can get counters, things like that. It said then also, at the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, remove all +1 counters from Duskblade. So yes, you can lose them. But the fact is that all you have to do is swing. It does not have to hit. And it's saying, hey, do the thing that Runeblade likes to do, which is play non-attacks and then attacks, and then swing with a sword. So sure, of course, that sounds great. As long as you can get something that can give you an extra point to go again on your attack, you can swing with this, and you're just gonna get the bonus counters anyways. And if they don't hit, it doesn't matter. You can just sort of save that up for a long time. Part of what I'm seeing with, like, maybe Chain can even really use this. I mean, obviously Briar is going to work great with this because you're incentivized to really go hard on that sort of thing and try to go wide with the lightning part of her. So I think that's really going to work well. But even with Chain, too, we know that he's going crazy with these soul shackles. We think that he's going to slow down with all the control and frostbite and stuff like that we're getting from this set. He'll maybe shackle a little bit less than he would, going for a little bit longer game. But even with a couple shackles, he's going to be able to get enough of these non-attacks and attacks every turn that he doesn't really need to worry about, like, ever not having that happen. And then bringing this thing up with, like, a couple counters on it is really going to be a pain. It's a single resource. Imagine if you get 2 counters on here. A single resource for a 4 damage swing that potentially just grows is pretty crazy. So I think Duskblade is going to be sweet. And I really look forward to playing with it. So yeah, definitely going to see that probably in all of the Runeblades. But all right, on to our next one. This is Fab with Freya. She has Pulse of Candlehold. So this is an Earth Lightning action, a yellow pitch, 0 cost, 3 defense, legendary, so you can only have 1 of them in your deck. Put up to 2 target Earth, Lightning, or Elemental action cards from your graveyard on top of your deck. Banish Pulse of Candlehold, go again. So, has the Reminiscence of Remembrance going on in it. That one is a yellow card. That is an instant, and it goes 3 cards that get shuffled in your deck. This is, I guess, kind of a juiced up version in the sense of, yeah, you're losing 1 card. It's not an instant. Still doesn't cost anything, but you get to put them right on top. So, although you can't sort of like cheat and get this done with an instant speed and then draw those cards in at the end of your turn necessarily to play immediately or anything like that, it's just really great. You can stack your deck, and we know we will see a bunch of cards coming up very soon that are ones that you're going to really want to target with this, that you're going to really want to bring back and really go to town with. So it's legendary, so you know it's got to be good. I know that's kind of a silly thing to say, but like generally when you see the legendary aspect in there, it's probably because it's pretty powerful. We know we saw that with the other pulses as well, like Pulse of Volhaven, being able to give that's the one that you can reveal as an ice fuse or electric fuse and then play on the attack card you're fusing, and so massive amounts of damage there. This is not necessarily as obvious, but being able to recur things like we'll see below can be very powerful. So I think this card is fantastic. And if there's a lot of ones that this counts as a non-attack action as well, so you can sort of get into that whole Briar trigger situation there as well. But I think it's great, and I think we can definitely see some cards that we'll want to rebuy with this. So definitely very cool. And also the art's just fantastic. Like, it's freaking gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. All right, now we have Deep Blue. So Deep Blue is from Combo TCG. This is a generic equipment chest. This is our common chest piece for limited, and it's actually pretty good. Although in Monarch we saw a lot of common chests or common pieces of armor have Blade Break or Battle Worn or whatever. This has 0 defense, but you know what? It's got some pretty sweet things, particularly if you're playing the Guardian Olden, because he's looking for a lot of blue stuff. So this is put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, destroy Deep Blue, gain 3 resources, go again. So as long as if there's a card in your hand that just doesn't pitch for the right value, it's just not enough. You need to toss it, whether it be red or yellow or whatever. You can just go ahead and generate 3 resources. So it turns any card into 3 resources, which is, once per game attack. But even so, that's very powerful. It can really make or break a lot of the momentum turns that you're going for. If you're really slamming on the gas and you're putting the screws to your opponent, and then you run into a pitch where you just can't make your turn work, it grinds to a halt. They keep their cards in their hand, and maybe they can start battling back. This will keep that flow going, keeping those high velocity cards able to be played with your resources. So definitely don't play this thinking that you can rely on it as a source of, it's fine, I don't need to put any blues in my deck. Definitely 100% don't count on it for that. But know that it's there for a stumbling block resetting. So that is Deep Blue. Cool art too. All right, we have Blossoming Spellblade. This is from Tower number 9. This is one of the cards that we are thinking about with the Pulse of Candlehold. These are some powerhouse cards. This is a red pitch, 2 cost, majestic, 6 power, 3 defense, elemental runebait action attack. And it says Earth and Lightning fusion. That means you must reveal both if you'd like to fuse. It's not an and or. You have to reveal both if you want to have the fuse happen. And it says, if Blossoming Spellblade was fused, it gains whenever this attack deals damage to an opposing hero. You may banish a non-attack action card from your graveyard. If you do, you may play it as though it was an instant, and if it would be put into your graveyard instead, banish it. So, instant speed, play non-attack actions while you are attacking, essentially, whenever it deals damage. So now, the second clause, when you attack with Blossoming Spellblade, if it was fused, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. Now that means that is going to poke first before the attack actually lands. So that is coming from this card. I'm 99% sure that is coming from this card, and therefore it will trigger the first part. Again, you have to fuse it or not. So both of these things are online if you fuse. It's not like, if I fuse with Earth or Lightning. It's both fused, both the same thing. So theoretically, you smack for that arcane. If they don't block it, you get to banish a non-attack action. And then you can play that as an instant. Now, the thing about non-attack actions, many of them have Go Again. And wouldn't you know it, when you have Go Again on something that is an instant, it gives you an action point back when it resolves. So, you can theoretically, although this does not have Go Again by itself, if you are able to sequence it so that you have your arcane hit, you cast the non-attack action before the damage hits, before this thing goes, you're going to get an action point. I'm not sure how that plays as far as timing, but I bet you that if you had a card that would give you an action point from the secondary banishment, you could also do that as well. So you're definitely going to be able to make very long turns with this. And not to mention, 2 for 6 is not bad anyway. So this attack on rate is great. There's a whole bunch of stuff that can buff Runeblade or Earth things or whatever. So we're really seeing this being pretty powerful. And again, it's theoretically possible to give it Go Again. There's a lot of zero cost non-attack actions too, and a lot of them are going to have Go Again. So I think this has got some major excitement going on. I think it's brutal. I think it's really brutal. And I'm really looking forward to playing Briar, particularly for these kind of weird, goofy mechanics that can really make you go hard and go wide. So I'm really, really excited for that. But yeah, so that is Blossoming Spellblade. Gotta love them Spellblades. All right, on to our next one from CFP. We have Channel Mount Heroic. So this is our last channel, and it really brings the beats, and that's what we expect from Earth things. So here it is. It is a red pitch, 3 cost, Earth, action, aura, defense for 3, Go Again, attack, action, cards you control have +3 power, and then that is all. That is what we get. We just have all of that. And it's mighty powerful. So yikes. That's all I gotta say is just yikes. Now the problem we have is this whole channel thing. So they have to channel these things, and that is going to be a problem. But if you think about it, you're going to play it the first turn. Obviously, you're going to have an Earth thing in your pitch zone. You wouldn't play it if all you're going to do is get 1 attack off. It's just not worth a 3+ buff. So you want to make sure that you have 1 in your hand at that point. and maybe you're going to have some others coming. You've been able to see what's on top of your deck or something like that, so you can have those things pitched for the next turn. So first turn, let's say you get one attack off. Boom. Because you pitch a blue, you play this, you pitch one card, and you play an attack. So you got +3 so far. Next turn comes around, let's say you didn't defend at all. You got 4 cards. Let's say you can have an arsenal too. You want to have at least 2 earth cards getting pitched. Let's say you attack twice or something like that, or play non-attack action, attack twice, whatever. You got +9 now. And if you can get those 2 to the bottom, then you're golden, and you've paid your dividends. Because you'll have it for a third turn and maybe get, 12, 15 damage. But we just don't know that's going to happen. And so your best case scenario is maybe you can get, obviously you're going to get it the first turn because you wouldn't play it just for the 3+ buff unless you're in a real type bind. So likely you're going to get 9 damage off this. And that's not bad for a 3-cost card over a couple turns. Again, those are pushing things into new breakpoint zones. They're definitely very valuable buff amounts. So I think it's very cool. I mean, you think about it, if you get 9 points of damage extra on here, that is almost a quarter of your entire Classic Constructed life total and almost half of your Blitz total. So it can be pretty brutal in that regard. I also just noticed that I have the video screen in the wrong format right now, so the card images are going to be a little bit goofy this time. I forgot to swap it over as I was recording, so I apologize for that. That's why we're in this weird situation of what I probably didn't realize when I first had the cards on the screen. So I apologize for that. I'm sure you guys don't really care, but I just noticed it now. So moving on to the next card, we have Force of Nature. This is by Kith TCG. Just go ahead and take a gander at that. Got all the nice elemental beings just coming at you. Briar's riding that sweet horse. It's got to feel very painful because man, out of wood or something like that. But all right, so this is a majestic 0-cost blue pitch elemental Runeblade action defense for 3. It says Briar specialization, so only she can play it. Earth fusion. Whenever an attack action card you control hits this turn, if its power is greater than its base power, draw a card. And that is spectacular. We always love to draw cards. That is the lifeblood. We only have 4 cards to start in most heroes, and boy, does it make a difference if you can get extra cards. Look at Chain. He's going bananas. Also says, if Force of Nature was fused, your next attack this turn gains +1. So if you're going to fuse it, and again, you're going to want to fuse it, really, because otherwise you're going to get go again unless you got some other buffs going on. It's not going to really do the thing you want to do. So it enables your next one to get +1. So at least it's got base power. And then it does have to hit. That's the thing, is the cards have to hit. So you're incentivized to have buffs outside of the +1 or dominated or in a really big breakpoint. So that's very important there. And I think this does have a lot of power behind it. I mean, if you can chain this together with your Blossoming Spellblade or things like that to really get things moving along, whether you're going to get to banish things, maybe you play this over again, it stacks, you get to draw 2 cards, something like bananas. You can really think of this as like these building into these OTK decks. And we'll see again with the next card as well. Like we're really getting to these critical mass of like, can I make this turn so brutal that my opponent just can't deal with it? And we're starting to see those, because if you can draw cards, you can banish things at instant speed, you can get go-agains like that, you can have these tokens from Briar being triggered, you're going to really be able to make these turns really powerful. I think that's something that's definitely on the horizon. I can't wait to have people fiddling with these, trying to make the maximum power builds and going for the OTK version. So very excited on that card. On to Fulminate. This is by Dat Geeky Guy. Second to last card we have. So this is a double fusion again, so you can have Earth and or Lightning. So this one you can just choose. You do one or the other or both. It says it is a yellow pitch 2-cost elemental action at Majestic. It costs defense for 2. Not great, but it's worth it still. So it says, if Fulminate was fused with an Earth card, attack action cards you control gain +3 this turn. All of them. They're just buffed. Just like Mount Heroic. This does the same sort of thing for this whole turn. The other one, and this is killer, and this is why we were talking about it with Fulminate, or sorry, with the passive cards, Force of Nature, and the Spellblade guy. It's just gonna be a powerhouse here. So it says, if Fulminate was fused with a Lightning card, attack action cards this turn gain go again. So this is where you can have this amazing turn of being able to hit, draw cards, banish things in instant speed, get go again, have this big buff, so they're going to hit, and it's just like this, all this like coming at you with so much power and so much intensity that it can be very brutal. And this is another piece of that like OTK version of just like swinging so many attacks, throwing so many buffs, having so much power behind it, hitting, drawing extra cards, banishing thing and playing from the graveyard to make your next attack so much larger. It's incredible. It's got some incredible power, and that is something else. That is definitely something else. So very excited for Briar right now. And now, might as well to transition to the other screen just to see this last one, because it's a pretty cool card. So let's zoom on over to this other screen. Very late. Yes, I understand that. All right, now our last card is Spellbound Creepers. So this is from Bloodletter. This is our last legendary of the set. It's a sweet set of brutal boots. That is true. So from Bloodletter, as we said. So this is Spellbound Creepers. It is a generic Runeblade equipment on the legs. Has Blade Break for 1. But that's not even a big deal. And that's one of the knobs you can turn on when you have a piece of equipment that you think is going to do so much powerful things that you need to put a bad defense thing on there, like Blade Break. And so it says, once per turn instant, so either turn, once per turn, pay 1, put a bind counter on Spellbound Creepers. You may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Activate this ability only if you have attacked or defended with an attack action card this turn. And it says, at the beginning of your end phase, destroy Spellbound Creepers unless you have dealt arcane damage this turn equal to or greater than the number of bind counters on Spellbound Creepers. So it's got a check system of, if you're going to use me, you got to start pushing through arcane damage. And it does actually hit. You can't just shoot arcane. It actually has to hit your opponent. So time it wisely. Now, that first clause, though, it's got some words that we want to focus in on. And it says, activate activate this ability only if you have attacked or defended with an attack action card. So now we're going into the Kano territory here. We can basically pay 1 and then play a card at instant speed on our opponent's turn, as long as we have defended. I mean, we have to obviously defend, and it has to be an attack action card. So we got to defend with an attack, or we attack with an attack, and then you can play this at instant speed. So whether you want to buff something on your turn when you're attacking in, or if you want to create some rune chance for some reason on your opponent's turn, or whatever, you have something just sit in the arena and get ready to buff something later. Lots of things to do here. So, and yes, it has a very good check system, dependent upon what your opponent is playing. I mean, if they're not playing any arcane barrier, then it really doesn't even matter. You just got to make sure that you can get those arcane bullets flying. Other than that, like, you're gonna have to maybe this only gets used once, maybe twice, and that's when you lose it, something like that. But it seems incredible, and the art on this thing is just brutal. I mean, look at all those little skulls, like screaming bloody magic. It's incredible. So yeah, that is it. All right, so that is all of our day 6 spoiler cards. Again, apologize for the video being a little bit screwed up this time. That was my fault. I was just so excited to get into the cards that I just totally forgot about it. So that'll be all for tonight's Pints and Preview. So this is Tap saying thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Cheers.